Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some of them are just a one hit. I feel they're ready to make it. But the next year they're then sure to be. Then the next up, then the next up. You got to be consistent in order to be permanent. And to all of your fans, you got to be excellent, excellent. To learn the game, go to your brain. Remain the same, don't ever change. Don't let your career go down the chain. So you can too much hyping up on the soca chain. On the soca chain, hyping up on the soca chain. Yo, yo, yo. Too much superstars on the soca chain. On the soca chain. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, and we are back with you for our second session of the Activated Morning program.
The time is now 7:46 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are now talking the Gazetted statutory rules and orders.
Look at you with your papers all laid out.
Proposed in the papers, and I'm pretty sure it's online for your consumption this morning. You're listening to Ari, and with me is Release, and we're Activated Mornings this morning, and let's get into it. So yesterday we discussed the amendments, or the proposed amendments to be made to the Sexual Offences Acts. This morning, we want to touch on the Firearms and the Motor Vehicle or Road Traffic or TINT Regulations 2023. So, as it is in the papers, a bit of background, the Firearms Amendment Bill 2023 would amend the Firearms Act, Chapter 386 of the Law of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 2009 edition, by creating three new offenses, namely the contravention of terms or conditions of license or permit, possession of ghost, gun, or a firearm produced by a 3D printing process, and thirdly, trafficking in firearms or prohibited weapons, and increasing the penalties for certain offenses in the Act. The bill was introduced in the House of Assembly by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on Thursday, November 23rd, 2023, and was placed before a select committee of the House. Comments on the bill may be submitted to the Clerk of the House of Assembly. The bill has 11 clauses. So, we start with Clause 2. Clause 2 of the bill would insert a new Section 11A in the Act. By the new Section 11A, the holder of a license or permit who contravenes a term or condition of the license or permit would commit an offense. The person would be liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $2,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months. Clause 3 would increase the penalties for the offense of possession of a firearm or ammunition in contravention of Section 14. So, Section 14, 10 years on the existing penalty, 10 years on summary conviction, 20 years on conviction on indictment, and the increased penalty would be 15 years on summary conviction and 25 years on conviction on indictment. It will be $10,000 or imprisonment for 5 years on summary conviction. Well, that's existing. And increased penalty would be $50,000 or imprisonment for 10 years on summary conviction. $25,000 or imprisonment for 15 years on indictment would be increased to $75,000 or $75,000 on imprisonment for 20 years on indictment. On summary conviction, $20,000 for imprisonment or 7 years is the existing penalty under 4C. The proposed penalty is on summary conviction, $25,000 or imprisonment for 10 years. On indictment, $20,000 or imprisonment for 10 years. The increased penalty would be $50,000 for imprisonment or 15 years. And that's basically what most of it says. If there have been increases by, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000, and in terms of prison sentences, three or more years have been added. So what was 5 years is 7 years. What was 20 years is 22 years. What has been 25 years is 30 years, and the list goes on in that regard. You have any comments?
Not much. I suppose it's just it's a slight increase in terms of the what the sentencing will be. Is it going to be enough of a deterrent? Is what it is, I suppose, that I'm curious about. But should I say it's a start? Maybe. But I guess we'd have to wait and see. But I suppose when I thought of there being stiffer penalties, I thought that it's going to be increasing a bit more. But maybe this is what maybe this is the precedent in terms of in other Caribbean countries. I don't know, but we have to wait and see, I suppose.
I don't see this as anything but a good thing, especially the creation of possession of a ghost gun or firearm produced by a 3D printing process. In international news, we have seen
it's new.
Yeah. So the three new offenses are the contravention of terms and conditions of license or permit. That's the first one. The second one, possession of a ghost gun or a firearm produced by a 3D printing process. The third one, trafficking in arms or prohibited weapons, and increasing the penalties for certain offenses in the act. As it relates to the ghost gun and 3D printing process, we see across the world, and we've been seeing it for years, persons using 3D printed weapons to cause harm to others, and they are quite functional. Sometimes they're not as functional. Sometimes they cause more harm to the person using it than the person they're trying to inflict harm on. But it is dangerous nevertheless, and I don't see anything but good coming from adding this charge as it relates to the increasing of these offenses. At some point, deterrences have to be put in place, and I applaud our lawmakers for making these changes to the laws. I don't see why anyone would have any pushback to the firearms in any way, because at the end of the day, they're being put in place to ensure the safety of all Vincentians here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have roughly 7 minutes left in this segment, and in those 7 minutes, we'll try to cover at least the first two sections of the motor vehicles road traffic or tint regulations. So these regulations may be cited as the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Tint Regulations 2023. These regulations come into force at the expiration of 3 months beginning on the day which it is published in the Gazette. In these regulations, unless the context otherwise requires, anti-glare ban overlay means a tinting overlay that is transparent and that is applied along the top edge of the windshield for the purpose of reducing the glare of the sun. Approved form means the form approved under Regulation 16. Exemption certificate means a certificate issued under regulation. Light transmittance measuring device means a device approved under Regulation 13 for the purpose of measuring visible light transmittance. The material are in two sections, it seems. A means an overlay film coating spray sticker, or other adhesive product, vinyl or paint applied, affixed, or fitted to the safety glass on the windshield or window of a vehicle. But B does not include any glazing or coating added during the manufacture of the vehicle. It was important to add that because, like I said, when we had Cop Chat and we were discussing the tint, that a lot of these new vehicles have a layer of tint that is anti-glare to protect the driver against the harmful rays of the sun and to also help to keep your vehicle as cool as possible during the hot, sunny summer days. I guess this is their way of making exceptions for that. Now, overlay means a transparent, translucent, opaque, tinted, or perforated, self-adhesive, or clinging film, sticker, wrap, or material, including anti-glare band overlays and stone guard overlays, which are used for the purposes of reduction of ultraviolet light, infrared or visible light transmission, advertising, identification, information, protection, or aesthetics, or any other purposes. Stone guard overlay means a transparent overlay that is applied along the bottom edge of the windscreen for the purpose of preventing damage to the windscreen from stones and other debris thrown up by other vehicles. Visible light transmittance means the proportion of visible light which passes through the glass of the windshield or window of the vehicle, including any material affixed to the glass, is expressed as a percentage of the total amount of light falling on the glass, includes any materials affixed to the glass when measured by a light transmitting measured device under Regulation 13. Window in relation to a vehicle means a front window, rear window, or any other window that enables a person in the vehicle to view outside of the vehicle but does not include the windscreen. You know, I hear going through this and I lost the part where they spoke about the percentage.
Oh.
Yes, unfortunately, I lost the part where they were speaking about the percentage. And I don't want to quote this incorrectly as to what the proposed percentage. Okay, here we go. So a person shall not cause or permit a vehicle to be used or drive or have charge of a vehicle on the road where a windscreen or window of the vehicle is composed of, coated or covered by, or treated or darkened with any material, overlay, or other product that has the effect of making the windscreen or window non-transparent or reducing the visible light transmittance of the windscreen unless the front windscreen has visible light transmittance of at least 70%. Each front window, including any side wing and side window on either side and forward of the vertical plane immediately behind the driver's seat back in its rearmost upright position, has a visible light transmittance of at least 35%, and each rear window, including any side window behind the front window and rear windscreen, has a visibility light transmittance of at least 20%. Trying not to go into a rant reading that. So yeah.
Okay, and I guess, well, I did not read through the entire thing. I just glanced at it because I think I was more concerned or more interested in the sexual offenses issue. However, Ari, I guess. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister, and good morning, my brother. How are you?
We're fine.
Let me thank you again for doing a wonderful job. I tried to get in yesterday, but I couldn't get in. But God is love. I think you guys understand democracy, and I think you all will do it good for this country as young people, because we cannot leave voices out. You guys must understand how important it is to educate the public. The young people are not reading enough. They're basically more into music and party and fete, and they literally are not reading. And so I'm proud of you guys, young people. My daughter was like that. My son wasn't as, he was into the music, spent a lot of time with the music, and didn't read a lot, didn't follow the news. So you guys are doing a good job. But just painfully, I called the police and I said, really, why are we having all this? I spoke to Officer King, the wonderful officer. He said, basically, there's really no law against tint. You could tint your vehicle, we give you the percentage and you put it on. What we don't want to happen is the front of the vehicle where you're literally bringing down these dark tinted and literally, conflicted with your vision seeing properly. And so once you keep that airway clear, so I asked me, what about what we should do is make sure when we do our inspection, obviously we make sure people get it right. And if we catch them outside of the inspection, changing up what we're supposed to. And, but we shouldn't be spending so many time on this thing. No, there's a serious situation, of course, with, as you know, with identifying people, somebody might drive across and shoot you and you can't look in to see them. Even without things, it's very difficult to see in a car anyway. So that's really, that don't make no sense. We have a other dangerous thing on the road. For example, we have a situation with loud music, especially from the minivans. But it's also played in. Why are we not telling our public that it is dangerous for 80 decibel music? It's going to damage that 3,500 cells in the outer A and 12,000 in the inner A. Well, we're not speaking about these things, but we are concentrating on an issue that we can resolve. Why are we not, for example, telling the...
Well, Hamo, to be fair, we don't know. So it could be a case where they're starting with the tint. We're not sure what they're going to be doing or if they have plans in place.
Could you say that again? They're starting with what, sister?
With the tint. They're probably starting with the tint, but who knows if they...
What I'm saying, these things should have been fixed years ago. What? We don't wait until the election come and all of a sudden you start to clean up. We had problems for years, and the police base, look now, we ain't talking no politics.
Yeah, so there may have been problems for years, but it's being addressed, but it's starting to be addressed. Would you rather it not to be addressed?
My sister, they do not, my sister, this is honey. The police did not talk. They not live and be live. 39 years I live here right now. You know what happening now in that Israel? People are not even calling the police anymore when they get breaking. The police are just talkers. They're honest.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam, for your contribution.
Have a wonderful day. Right?
You as well. All right. So, were you going to continue? Were you going to? I know, but were you going to continue with this particular topic? Okay. So, just to note, I know that Ari went through certain things within it. However, in all of the newspapers, there is a schedule that lists the medical conditions that are exempt. So there's the exemption under the medical certificate, and also to note that there is a public consultation on the draft document or the draft proposals, and all comments can be submitted to the AG's office. All right, so you could, I guess, call, submit in writing, email, or whatever method you prefer, you can do so. So it's not a case where it's just being presented and there is no aspect for you to voice your opinion or your concerns. All right, so that information can be submitted to the AG's office. All right, and the time here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it is 8:03, and today's time check came to us with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss of a loved one, you may try to be strong, but it's really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the